Hare Krishna, Pranam dear devotees. Thank you so much for joining. So, let's start with our prayers. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनाशलाकय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, thank you all so much for joining to continue our reading. So we are reading the fourth verse, and today we'll complete the last two paras of the purport. So first let's recite the shloka and then we'll go to the meaning and the last two paras. So would someone like to read the shloka?
Hare Krishna Mataji, shall I?
Yes, Mataji, please read.
ददाति प्रतिगृह्णाति गुह्यम् आख्याति पृच्छति भुङ्क्ते भोजयते चैव षड्विधं प्रीति लक्षणम्. Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavat pranam.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Uma Devi Mataji, want to read?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat pranams.
Pranam.
Dadati pratikranti guhyam akyati prachyati bhungte bhojayate chaiva sadvidham priti lakshanam. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Okay, Mataji. Anyone else? So in this shloka, we're reading about the six symptoms of priti, affection between devotees. So that is dadati pratigrinati, that means giving charity, offering gifts in charity, accepting charitable gifts. Guhyam akhyati prishchati, that means revealing one's mind in confidence and inquiring confidentially. And then bhukte bhojayate chaiva, accepting prasad and offering prasad to the devotees. Shadvir Preeti Lakshanam. So these are the six symptoms. Shadvidam Preeti Lakshanam. That means these are the six symptoms of love shared by one devotee and another. So all these different parts or different symptoms have been discussed in the previous classes. And today we'll just read the last portion of the purport and have a summary of all these six symptoms. So the where we ended on Friday was where Prabhupada was telling that when this happens, when devotees have these kind of exchanges, then what happens? Prabhupada had said that there will be peace of mind, there will be tranquility, there will be friendly relations between men and nations. So, if one follows these principles of Krishna consciousness, of religion, then the dormant love for Krishna is reawakened, and that's when we can expect real happiness, real peace. As soon as people do so, their minds will immediately be filled with peace and tranquility. That's what Prabhupada had mentioned, and that's the section we had read last. Now we have two more paras. So, I mean, two big paras and then one small. So, we can take turns in reading. So, would someone like to start reading this paragraph in this regard?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Please read, Mataji, from in this
Yes,
regard.
Mataji. In this regard, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur warns that all devotees engaged in broadcasting the Krishna conscious movement not to speak the impersonalist Mayavadis, who are always determined to oppose such theistic movements. The world is full of Mayavadis and atheists, and the political parties of the world take advantage of Mayavada and other atheistic philosophies to promote materialism. Sometimes they even back a strong party to oppose the Krishna conscious movement. The Mayavadis and other atheists do not want Krishna conscious movement to develop because it educates people in God conscious. Such such is the policy of the atheists. There is no benefit in feeding a snake milk and bananas because the snake will never be satisfied. On the contrary, by taking milk and bananas, the snake simply becomes more poisonous. Kevalam Vishwavardhanam. If a snake is given milk to drink, its poison simply increases. For a similar reason, we should not disclose our minds to the serpent Mayavadis and Karmis. Such disclosures will never help. It is best to avoid association with them completely and never ask them about anything confidential because they cannot give good advice. Not should we extend invitations to Mayavadis and atheists, nor accept their invitation. For by such intimate intermingling, we may become afflicted by their theistic mentality. Sangha sandhete kama. It is the negative injection of this word that we should not refrain from giving anything to or accepting anything from the Mayavadis and atheists. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also warned Vishaya Anna Kaile Dushta Haya Mana. By eating food prepared by worldly people, one's mind becomes wicked. Unless one is very advanced, he is unable to utilize everyone's contribution to further Krishna conscious movement. Therefore, on principle, one should not accept charity from the Mayavadis or atheists. Indeed, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has forbidden devotees to associate even with ordinary men who are too addicted to material sense gratification. Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. So, in this section, Srila Prabhupada is warning us against association with Mayavadis and atheists. Now, these six kinds of exchanges that we read about in this verse, if we follow these six kind of exchanges, then we get success in spiritual life. We get peace and tranquility. That's what Prabhupada has mentioned. Now, the quality of our spiritual life ultimately depends on the quality of our relationships. See, it's our attachment to devotees, our attachment to that sangha that keeps us glued to that association, right? How we interact with devotees. First, we get attached to devotees, then our attachment to Lord Krishna increases. And spiritual life ultimately is also a relationship. It's a relationship with Krishna. And our relationship with Krishna is not in isolation. We cannot take it in isolation. It also depends on our relationship with others. So that intimacy that we feel, that takes us closer to Krishna. Because if we are feeling intimate, if we are feeling very close and attached to devotees, now these devotees are attached to Krishna. So ultimately, our attachment to Krishna also increases. That is why we are advised that we associate and develop attachment with Sajatiya devotees. Because we all have our conditioning, we all have some likes and dislikes. There will be some devotees with whom, we'll share similar likings. Say some devotees, for example, if I like cooking, and I associate with other devotees, other Matajis who also like cooking, then we'll have a lot in common to discuss. Or some devotees may like Kirtan a lot. So when they associate together, they learn from each other, they discuss about new tunes or new Kirtans. In this way, we are using our whatever ability Krishna has given us, whatever our inclination may be, to associate with devotees. Now devotees have Krishna in their heart, so through this exchange we also get Krishna in our heart. Now this attachment that we have to develop with Krishna, it cannot just be seen in isolation. We cannot think that, oh, I'll just go to the temple, I'll only look at the deities, I'll not interact with anybody. It's very difficult to advance like that. because we have to hear, we have to learn, and that can happen only in the association of devotees. Our ego gets sometimes our ego gets hurt also. There are many improvements that we need in ourselves, and that is told to us by devotees only. So that's why association is very important. And in that association, how to develop love is through these six kinds of exchanges. And in this para, which Mataji just read, Prabhupada is telling us the other side, that we should not do these six kinds of exchanges with Mayavadis and atheists. Because Prabhupada is saying that when we offer some food to a snake, its poison increases. So Prabhupada is saying that, the Mayavadis and other atheists, they do not want the Krishna consciousness movement to develop because it educates people in God consciousness. That is their policy. Now, the Mayavadi philosophy is such that they don't want to surrender or serve the Supreme Lord. So they decry that there is a form to the Lord, because form means there will be some seva, there will be some interaction. They do not want that. And then many want to believe that they themselves are God. And then atheists, they totally don't believe in the existence of God at all. So both these kinds of people, atheists as well as Mayavadis, are very, very risky. So Prabhupada is saying that there is no benefit in feeding a snake milk and bananas, because the snake will never be satisfied. On the contrary, by this, their poison will increase. So we should not disclose our minds to the serpent Mayavadis and Karmis. Such disclosures will never help. Now, when we are in the association of a Sajatiya devotee and we disclose our mind to them, they will be in a mood to help us, not to exploit this weakness that we have. But with Mayavadis, Karmis, atheists, everyone is having an exploitative mentality. And even if they're not trying to exploit, will they really be able to help us? Because they themselves don't know the solution to the problems of life, right? I mean, if I am undergoing some problem, some trouble in my life, some emotional turmoil or something like that, or if I am struggling with some anartha, then someone who knows the way out of this anartha, they can help me. Mayavadis and karmis and atheists, they themselves are, stuck in that whole cycle. They cannot take us out of that cycle. So if I am stuck somewhere, if say if a person is drowning, he has to take from someone, he has to take help from someone who's standing on the shore. If two people are all drowning at the same time, how will they be able to help each other? So we are all drowning in this Maya Sagar. Someone who knows the way out, or someone is who's actually standing out, they will be able to take us out. And devotees, they are always so loving and caring that their affection itself will help us. So because their affection is pure, they don't want to enjoy seeing someone else in misery, right? Because they have a soft heart. Devotion to Krishna makes the heart soft. So even a sympathetic hearing, or they may give us some tips how we can increase our bhakti to Krishna, or come out of anarthas or different problems that we might be having. And definitely, devotees, they try to do the best to solve whatever problem we are in. And even if they're not practically able to solve, at least, just talking to them, they make us understand that this world is temporary, all problems are temporary. They may give us some quotes from Shastra, they may tell us from their personal experience, anything, something that will help us out. Because their motivation is not their self-enjoyment, their motivation is enjoyment of Krishna. So they are not selfish. So that's why Prabhupada is saying that we should not disclose our minds to the serpent Mayavadis and Karmis. Such disclosures will never help. And then Prabhupada is saying it is best to avoid association with them completely and never ask them about anything confidential, because they cannot give good advice. So, firstly, we should not disclose our confidential thoughts and whatever we are feeling to them, and then not inquire from them also, because their thinking, their whole philosophy is completely different. And when we have not reached that very strong stage where we are completely able to protect ourselves, then we have to be very careful to avoid this kind of association, because they may twist Shastra, they may misquote, Lord Krishna, and we may not be philosophically that strong to defend our faith. So it can really hamper our faith. So best is to, not have any intimate intermingling with them, not accept their invitations, not invite them. It is best to stay away from them, because association means there is transfer of affection, there is transfer of deep thoughts, and we really don't want their kind of thoughts to come in our mind. So Prabhupada is saying that it is a negative injunction of this verse that we should refrain from giving anything to or accepting anything from the Mayavadis and atheists, because we don't want the preeti to increase with them. We want our affection towards devotees to increase. That's why we do these six kinds of exchanges. But we don't want our affection with Mayavadis, atheists to increase. And then Prabhupada is quoting from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he has also warned us, Vishaira Annakaila Dushta Man. That means by eating food prepared by worldly people, one's mind becomes wicked. So we have to really avoid that. And unless one is advanced, he's unable to utilize everyone's contribution to further the Krishna consciousness movement. See, when devotees are on a very advanced stage, they are able to include everyone. They are able to take help. They may take some seva from everyone because they are able to purify others. When we are not purified ourselves, and we should really refrain from this kind of association. Indeed, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has forbidden devotees to associate even with ordinary men who are too addicted to material sense gratification. Because when our bhakti lata is still in a very tender stage, anything can harm it, right? So we have to be very, very careful what kind of influences we are letting ourselves being exposed to. Sometimes if we think, okay, someone is not an atheist, someone is not a Mayavadi, but someone is too grossly materialistically inclined. So if we associate with them also a lot, then we may also start thinking that, oh, this is so much fun what they are doing, the kind of life they are leading. Ultimately, we have to know that everyone is going to suffer. This is how the nature of the world is. We have all made mistakes. We are all suffering because of that. But sometimes the allurement of Maya is so fascinating that we may start thinking, we may get influenced by them also. So, Mayavadis, atheists, gross materialists, we should really avoid association with them. Now, here, firstly, we have to differentiate between very strong Mayavadis and those who are just lightly, influenced by Mayavad. So many people, they don't have any clear knowledge of scriptures. They have not read scriptures themselves, and they may just have heard something from some influential person, which has caused them to have slight Mayavadi influence. Now, for these people, it is possible to preach to them and change their minds, but some people, they know so much, they, at least in their mind, they think this, they know so much that it's impossible to have any kind of a discussion, or any debate with them. So we have to be very, very careful to avoid this kind of association. If we feel that someone has this Mayavadi bent of mind, best to stay away from them. But we should have a very cultural and dignified way of dealing with these people. It should not be a fanatical understanding. Okay, there is an intelligent understanding and there is a fanatical understanding. Intelligent understanding means we know what is our position of our sampradaya. We know what the scriptures say. So intelligently we know that what my belief is, and scriptures support that. Then there is a fanatical understanding where we just feel that, oh, all Mayavadis, they are just fools and rascals. Now, Prabhupada could say that because Prabhupada's position is totally different. And Prabhupada is still speaking out of love only, because he doesn't want them to go on a wrong path and waste their life. And Prabhupada was also not like that. He was very dignified. There were many functions that he was, called for, where there were other Mayavadi leaders also. And Prabhupada was very dignified, very cultured in his behavior towards them. Once when Prabhupada was very unwell, He had a stroke. There was a very prominent Mayavadi who came to visit him, and Prabhupada was very respectful towards him. So it's not like, we have to just start angrily behaving towards Mayavadis, and we start calling them, bad names or anything like that. No, we have to know that, okay, my belief is different, their belief is different. I'm not going to change my beliefs. I'm not going to even hear their deep understandings. But culturally, we can still approach them and talk to them in a very dignified manner. That's what we should do. Even Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he used to confront Mayavadis. He was opposed to that, and he would oppose them with shastric proof, but he would do it in a very, very dignified and very cultured manner. So we have to be very careful not to become fanatics, and not to, our behavior should not turn very violent towards them or hostile towards them. That is something we have to be careful about. We have to protect our faith. But anyone we meet, as practicing sadhakas, we should always behave in a very dignified manner towards everyone. Okay? Yeah. Now, these last two paras, starting with the conclusion, is that. So, would someone like to read? Yes, Mataji. Read. Over there, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Anybody is reading?
No, Mataji, nobody has raised their hand, so you can only read, Mataji. Okay, Lalita Vinodini Mataji.
He wants to read?
Hare Krishna.
Lalita Vinodini Mataji, you want to read?
Yes, Mataji. I just joined now because I had another class. So I just joined.
acha.
Sorry for that.
Okay, Mataji.
Shall I read from conclusion, no? The conclusion?
Yeah, the conclusion is that.
Okay, Hare Krishna. The conclusion is that we should always keep company with devotees, observe the regulative devotional principles, follow in the footsteps of the acharyas, and full obedience carry out the orders of the spiritual master. In this way, we shall be able to develop our devotional service and dominate Krishna consciousness. The devotee who is neither a neophyte nor a Mahabhagavata, that is a great advanced devotee, but is within the middle status of devotional service, is expected to love the Supreme Personality of Godhead, make friends with the devotees, show favor to the ignorant, and reject the jealous and demonic. In this verse, there is a brief mention of the process of making loving transactions with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and making friends with the devotees. According to the Dadati principle, an advanced devotee is supposed to spend at least 50% of his income on the service of the Lord and his devotees. Srila Rupa Goswami has set such an example in his life. When he decided to retire, he distributed 50% of his life's earnings to Krishna service and 25% to his relatives, and kept 25% for personal emergencies. This example should be followed by all devotees. Whatever one's income, 50% should be spent on behalf of Krishna and his devotees, and this will fulfill the demands of Dadati. Should I continue? Should I continue, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji, just last line is remaining.
Yeah, okay. In the next verse, Srila Rupa Goswami. Hare Krishna. Yeah. In the next verse, Srila Rupa Goswami informs me. I'm getting some sound, Mataji, background.
Is it, Mataji? Anyone else facing that?
Shall I continue the 2 lines? Yeah. In the next verse, Srila Rupa Goswami informs us what kind of Vaishnava should be selected as a friend and how Vaishnava should be served. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mataji. So Prabhupada is saying that in conclusion, we should keep company with devotees, observe the regulative principles of devotion, and follow in the footsteps of acharyas in full obedience, carry out the orders of spiritual master. So we have to make our life less complicated. The process is there. We have to simply follow it with determination and sincerity. And Prabhupada says that in this way, we'll be able to develop our devotional service and dominate Krishna consciousness. So then Prabhupada is telling us that the devotee who is neither a neophyte nor a Mahabhagavad, that means the person who is in the middle tier of devotional service, is expected to love the Supreme Lord, make friends with devotees, show favor to the ignorant, and reject the jealous and demoniac. Okay, so these are the things that we have to do. We have to be away from jealous and demoniac people. We should make friends with devotees. Try to love the Supreme Lord, expected to love the Supreme Lord, make friends with devotees, show favor to the ignorant. Okay, so these are the things that we should do. And this verse has told about the loving interactions that we should do. And regarding the Dadati principle, Prabhupada says that we should try to at least, try to give donation of at least 50% of our income in the service of the Lord. Now, for some devotees, this may be a little difficult because we may be in different financial situations, we may have different commitments, responsibilities in our life. So, at a particular stage in our life, this 50% rule may not be possible. So we should not then feel that we should not first of all feel dejected and then completely reject it. That, oh, 50% is definitely not possible for me in my situation currently. So this is definitely not working for me. I'm not going to follow this rule. So that will become a negative thing. Yes, maybe 50% is not possible for me right now, but maybe 10% is possible. So His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu says this very nicely. He says that there are the stars and then there are the steps. Yes, this particular principle of 50% is like a star for us because it's unreachable for me right now. But then I do have stairs. That means there is something that I can still do. We should always keep that as a motivation that, okay, yes, maybe at some point in my life I'll be able to do that. Let me keep that as a motivation. But that doesn't mean that I should stop climbing the steps. So there is a step by step process. Whatever is possible in our present situation, we should definitely give it. That the dati should definitely happen. It's not like we hold a view that right now my financial situation does not allow anything, so I'm not going to give anything. Yeah, maybe later in life when I'm earning very well, then I'll donate. And now I won't be give anything. No, something is possible. Krishna is not looking for the amount. See, the Krishna consciousness movement is not dependent upon one single person's donation or anybody's donation. The Krishna consciousness movement will still spread. If not these number of people, another set of devotees will come and contribute, or somebody else will contribute. Lord Chaitanya's mission will still go on. Now it is up to us. Do we want to become a part of it or not? So even if the amount is small, Krishna is looking at the intent. So our intent, that is very, very important. In our spiritual life, it's always our intention, our sincerity that Krishna is seeing. Yes, maybe for a particular devotee, 50% is not possible, but whatever is possible practically, they are giving that regularly. Krishna will be very, very pleased with that because he's seeing that this is the best that that devotee can do at this point. So it is our love for Krishna, it is our intent that really matters. And we see this, in society that people are willing to spend on unnecessary things and on sense gratification so much. But when it comes to bhakti, devotional service, or propagation of Krishna consciousness, many are not interested in donating. But that is their misfortune. Once, several years back, we were going for door to door collection for Janmashtami program. Janmashtami was coming, so for the function, we were collecting and we were on the road. And one very elderly Mataji, she was also with us, and she went to one shop and they gave a very meager amount. I mean, I mean, I don't even feel like mentioning that amount. No, it's not that that amount is small and they'll not get benefit. It's not like that. But definitely that person was in a position to give a little more, and it was so meager that we were like, okay, why did they even, bother so much? Was it such a big botheration for them? And same day, that's with the same Mataji, she was collecting, and a person who had a cart of fruits on the street, he gave a significant amount, significant for him, versus that shop owner. This amount was very, very significant. Now, for this person who was having a small cart in the street, for sure, this amount that he gave was very significant. But he had that love that this is going for the Lord's, Janmashtami celebration. So we can see how emotions of people are different. Now, these amounts in both these situations are not important at all, but that intent is important. What is really our intention? What are we really thinking of when we are giving to Krishna? So we should always, in whatever situation we are, whatever is possible for us, we should definitely try to contribute for the Krishna consciousness movement. Like I said, this movement is definitely going to grow. Now it is up to us. Do we want to become a part of this success story or not? That is up to us. So if we get to be a part of it, that is our great fortune. So the amount is definitely not important. It is the intent that is important. Okay. So this is where this chapter ends. Now let's just revise what are these six principles. What are the different nuances that Prabhupada has explained to us in this very beautiful purport? Because this is directly about our dealings with devotees. So we have to understand what is appropriate, what is not appropriate, what is covered under each principle. So just a quick recap. So this text 4 is teaching us how to perform devotional activities in the association of devotees. Now we know the broad principles that we should associate with devotees, but in that association of devotees, what all should I do? So the 6 symptoms of love between devotees are described in this verse. So that includes giving charity to the devotees, accepting from the devotees whatever they may offer in return, opening one's mind to the devotees, inquiring from them about the confidential service of the Lord, honoring prasad or spiritual food given by the devotees, and feeding or serving the devotees prasadam. Okay, so these are the 6 symptoms of love. Now, these loving exchanges, Prabhupada has explained in the purport, that we see in the common world also. Whenever we are trying to have any close relations with someone, these are the kind of things we do. And I had mentioned also that when we think of someone very affectionately in our life, it's one of these things that they would have done with us, or we had that kind of interaction with them, either our mother or grandmother serving us something nice to eat, or some friend hearing my mind out or telling me something, or definitely giving gifts, receiving gifts, and for sure prasadam. So these are the 6 things that we see in this world also. It's a very common social phenomena. And Prabhupada had also given the example of a businessman in a hotel. When they have to discuss business, then they get over dinner or lunch and have a meeting and discuss these things. So it's a very common social thing that we see. That is what we need to bring in the devotee association also, and do it very respectfully. So with regard to the subject of association, with whom are we associating, it is very important where to associate, how to associate, why to associate. These are all explained by Srila Prabhupada. So when we talk about association, who should we associate with? We have already read that Sangatyagat Sattovrite. That means we have to give up the association of non-devotees, atheists, and we have to associate with devotees of Krishna who are like-minded. And where can we associate? ISKCON facilitates these 6 kinds of loving exchanges with devotees. Prabhupada has given us such a beautiful home where there's so many devotees with whom we can have these loving exchanges. For example, Prabhupada started the Life Membership Program. Okay, it was named so because life of devotees is nourished by those 6 loving exchanges, and Krishna consciousness is revived. Okay, so yeah, that is one way in which everyone gets a chance to come close and have a wonderful association, and we associate with these 6 kinds of loving exchanges. Then we also discussed about what different kinds of dadati, pratigrinati can we have. So, for example, if we give someone gifts us a book, then we can give we can give them some prashadam. Or if we are gifting someone a book and they want to give some donation to ISKCON, that can also be taken. If there is someone who has invited us for prashadam, then we can have some Krishna Katha. in their home. We can have some bhajans in their home. We can also invite them. We can give spiritual instructions to others. We can inquire confidentially from other devotees. These are the kind of exchanges that we can have. Now, the why are these exchanges so important? What is the principle behind the success of these loving exchanges? Because association really affects our desires. So, association with devotees will inspire us to become devotees. For example, if we associate with a worldly minded person who's really after earning money and getting more cars or more house, bigger house and all that, our desire will also turn towards that because we are associating very intimately with them. On the other hand, if we're associating with devotees, because they have such a strong desire to serve Guru, to serve Srila Prabhupada, and serve the mission and get closer to Krishna, then we also get inspired. Like, for example, during the book, the book marathon, book distribution marathon one, maybe for some of us it may be a little difficult to distribute books, but when we are with devotees who are doing book distribution with so much love, then that desire comes in our heart also that, oh, let me also try. This is such a blissful service because they look so blissful, you know. And in the same way for all other services, when we see that devotees are doing it with so much love, that really affects us also. So association really affects our desires, and that is why we have to be very careful who we are associating with. And our dormant love for hearing or serving, etc., can be revived when we are in the association of such devotees. And power of hearing and chanting is also described in the purport because these are the devotional methods, Shravanam and Kirtanam. And this transcendental sound cleanses the impure heart and revives pure love. That also Srila Prabhupada mentions. Then Prabhupada also talks about the importance of Sri Krishna Sankirtan. This is something that we should all be doing because it cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years. Giving someone the name of Krishna is the best gift, right, that we can do for them. And this kirtan extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. And this is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. So when we are doing Sankirtan, it increases the happiness of others, it increases the bliss that they are feeling. And it is the life of all transcendental knowledge, the name of Sri Krishna. All the purification that we are trying to do in our life is so that we can chant the names of Krishna purely. And this Sankirtan enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. This is something that should be a part of all our lives. Then, Tadati Pratigranati was discussed in more detail. Dati means giving charity, and Pratigranati means being willing and ready to receive the transcendental gift. And the best form of the Dati is giving the holy names, as I just mentioned, because not only the chanter, but anyone who hears the name is also purified. Even the lower species can advance by hearing the holy name because we see from the example of Lord Chaitanya in the Jharkhand forest, where even the animal species, they were also influenced and affected by the chanting of the holy names. And Dati can also refer to contributing in the form of books and magazines. That is also the Dati. And Prabhupada has told about in this the last section we read today about contributing our at least 50% of our income. So we discussed that also. And then Guhyam Akhyati, in disclosing our mind and inquiring confidentially. So this is where an experienced devotee explains and an inexperienced devotee learns from him. So we have to know from whom to inquire confidentially. Okay, and this really opens one's mind when we are having these kind of interactions with seniors, because we understand the situation of the material world. We inquire about Krishna consciousness, so that really broadens our mind. That really brings a lot of maturity and stability in our Krishna consciousness. So we should definitely be doing that. And then bhungte bhojagate, that means accepting, honoring prasadam, and also serving prasadam to the devotees. So Prabhupada started this very beautiful Sunday love feast where everyone comes together and they really get surcharged, spiritually recharged in our, in our consciousness, because this is where, over prasadam, first of all, prasadam itself is mercy. So we are getting that mercy, and then during the serving of prasadam or even preparing of prasadam, honoring prasadam, there can be very intimate, loving exchanges between devotees that develops friendship, which can really last a lifetime. So it's very important. Our Sunday love tea is very important. And apart from that, we can have other functions also. We can invite devotees to our homes and offer them prasadam. And here we should be very sensitive about the likes and dislikes of devotees, or some people may have certain restrictions also with regards to prasadam, so we have to be very mindful of that. It's not that I like preparing this, or I'm very good at preparing this, so I'm just going to make this and serve. I don't care about how others take it. No, whether it is a gifting thing or whether it is offering prasadam, we have to be very, very sensitive about the devotees for whom we are doing this. Because we have to remind ourselves why we are doing this. We are doing this so that they are pleased, so that our love increases. So, for example, if there is a devotee who really likes to read books, so we give them books. And and it is not just about giving materialistic things, but if there is some devotee who needs a lift for a function, we if we are driving, we have a car or other conveyance, and we can give lift to devotees, we can offer them to come with us, drop them, pick them up. These things are also, this is also showing of love. So we should be ready to please the devotees in all respects. And last week we had also discussed that it is not that, the content is the most important thing, the intent is actually the most important thing. But uh, our intent, if it is very, very pure and sincere, then that will affect the quality of the content also. So, for example, if I want to invite devotees to my home and I want to really serve them, then I will put my best effort into cooking. Now, my best effort may not be the best effort compared to other devotees, but at least that should be the best that I can do. It's not that I prepare something very which is very mediocre in quality and I just give the excuse that my intent was good. No, that should not be the case. A poor content is really a reflection somewhere or the other. It's a reflection of a poor intent also. So we should really have a very good and pure intent, and that definitely affects the quality of the content. Even if my cooking may be very simple, but if I've really cooked with love, then the quality will definitely be different. So we have to be very, very clear that our intention is to please the devotees. It's not just to show off my cooking or my skills. That's not the intent. Okay. Now, when we associate with devotees in these six loving ways, then we get a lot of spiritual benefit. It provides the success of religion. It can give us love of Godhead. Savai pumsam paro dharmo. So our intention, our effort to please the devotees can give us a lot of spiritual benefit, because devotees are very dear to Krishna, and it gives us a lot of peace. That is the mental benefit. And what is the social benefit? Tranquility. There will be a lot of sadbhavna, there will be peace everywhere. And there is also a universal benefit, because there will be friendship between men, friendship between nations. So taking to Krishna consciousness, developing love with devotees, it has spiritual benefit, it has a mental benefit, it has social benefit, and it has universal benefit. So only good things come out of the spreading of Krishna consciousness movement, because it really changes us from the inside. We become less selfish, we become more selfless. And selfishness is the root cause of so many problems that we see in the world. Now, if all of us come into that frame of mind that we just want to have loving exchanges with devotees, we want to please each other, then we can imagine, how wonderful the world will be. So love, love and selflessness is what is really lacking. Even in families, many times in families also it lacks. But it is the association of devotees, which is like a real spiritual family. That's where we really find these things. But there are so many devotees, who have such deep love between them that even if there is distance separating them, still that love is so strong. We may not be able to meet some devotees on a very regular basis for various reasons. We may be in different cities, some may have moved, or even in the same city, we may be far apart. But that glue of Krishna consciousness love is so strong that it can still keep us together, it can still keep us intact, because in this relationship there is no selfishness. In this relationship the center is Krishna, and that is why these kind of relationships, the spiritual relationships, are way more lasting than any kind of a material friendship that we may have. Okay. Then some of the principles to be imbibed in making healthy relationships. And this is not from the purport, but in general, Prabhupada has mentioned these in other purports, and which we can keep in mind, because when we are interacting with devotees, we also have to be very careful that we don't commit any aparadhs. So Prabhupada has told us that we should become like a honeybee and not like the housefly, because the housefly goes and sees all the dirty things and sits on all the dirty things, leftover kind of things. But the honeybee will just go for the nectar. So, in any kind of a devotee association, we should only try to see the good qualities in other devotees and completely ignore any bad qualities or any negativities that we may see in them. Our focus should be just to see and appreciate their good qualities, and we should reserve our judgments, when asked to give an opinion on a particular circumstance. We should not always be ready to babble out whatever is coming in our mouth. That is something I think which helps in our materialistic relationships also, and in our spiritual relationships greatly. Because if we are just into this habit of passing on judgment, then we may end up saying something which is very wrong. We may end up offending devotees, which is very harmful for our devotional life. We should always give the benefit of doubt to others and consider the wholesome situations, because we don't know what is going on in somebody's mind. So we should be ready to give the benefit of doubt. And this is a very nice principle, that if we cannot say something to a person's face, then it is better not to say it in their absence also. Yeah, these principles may be difficult to follow, but if we can invite them in our life, we'll become a better person, and it'll help our spiritual life a lot. So if there's something that I cannot say to a person's face, I should not say it behind their back also. We should not have any premature judgment on someone, because it's very irresponsible and it brings a lot of trouble. And people are not difficult many times, but they are just different many times. So if we understand this, then we can save many relationships. And our words can really hurt someone very, very badly. So in our devotee association, we should be very, very cautious, because injury to our body can heal, but any injury caused by our words, it takes a very long time to heal. Sometimes it doesn't heal also. And we really don't want to end up in a situation where we say something like that to a devotee. And silence is a very important tool. It can help us avoid many problems. Okay. But sometimes sharing with an open heart can also solve problems. So we have to be very sensitive where we need to maintain silence, when we need to share and open our heart to someone. So in a very safe environment with a devotee, we may be able to open our heart. But then again, the words that we choose, we have to be very conscious about that. And then in the section that we read today, the kind of association that we need to avoid, that is the Mayavadis, the atheists. We have to not do these six kind of exchanges with them. We have to do these six kind of exchanges only with devotees. Okay. And yet we have to be very, very dignified and very cultured in our behavior towards Mayavadis and atheists. We don't have to go and start fighting and use bad words, bad mouth anybody. No, let's be very cultured and yet know that where I have to stop interacting with a certain person. See, because in current world situation, there may be a situation where people of different faiths have to come together. we cannot totally, be aloof from them. So we have to know that if we are in the association, if we are in the company or the presence of a Mayavadi, then how are we supposed to behave? It should not that we become totally awkward and we don't know how to speak in front of them. No, because these are there may be some countries in the world where Krishna consciousness has spread everywhere by Prabhupada's grace, but there may be some countries where the ISKCON devotees may not be in majority, and in such countries, to just protect Sanatan Dharma, people of different faiths within the Sanatan family may come together to to protect Sanatan Dharma or to speak in favor of Hinduism or something like that. Now, in this case, ISKCON devotees will have to work with people of other faiths also and with other kind of Sanatanis also. So here we have to know that how to interact with them, how to work with them. We are not taking their thoughts, we're not getting influenced by their philosophy, but yet we are working with them for a higher goal, which is protecting Sanatan Dharma. Okay, so we have to be very cautious of our surroundings and very protective of our faith. That is something we have to really maintain. Okay, so intimate intermingling is what we have to avoid, but we can just be dignified in their presence. And Prabhupada has said that unless one is very advanced, he is unable to utilize everyone's contribution to further the Krishna consciousness movement. So we have to be very careful that we don't get influenced by others. Prabhupada and other great acharyas, even if they meet people who are opposed to Krishna consciousness or very strong Mayavadis also, they knew how to talk philosophy with them and change their mindset also. Now, we may not be in such a position that we are able to not totally influence someone and convert them to great devotees. We may not be in that situation. So it's better that we don't get into a philosophical argument with such kind of people, because we really first of all have to protect our faith. If our faith is not strong, then we'll not be able to help anyone. So these, in summary, these six kind of loving exchanges, we have to do them with devotees, because these are the ways in which our love for devotees will increase. But while performing each of these six kinds of loving exchanges, our motivation, our focus should be pleasing the other devotees. It's not about me, it's about them. If our intention is to try and please the devotees, then definitely the love which we have for them is going to increase. And we have to be very mindful in the association of devotees that we avoid any kind of aparadh to them. That's where, these principles of, knowing where to keep silent, knowing where to speak, using the right words. And if there is something that we need to say, taking it through the proper authority, all these things we have to become very sensitive about. And then, this is how our attachment to devotees will increase, and through that our attachment for Lord Krishna increases. So these principles are very important. Okay, so we'll stop here. If there are any questions, any comments, any realizations you want to share, then we can have that for a few minutes. Otherwise, we'll close for today. No? Okay. So today is a very important day. Let's pray to Lord Shiva, Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu, that the love that he has for Lord Krishna, he can bless us also, that we may also develop some small fragment of that love that he has. Lord Shiva, as you all know, is very dear to the Lord, and Lord Shiva takes all very difficult kind of services. So he's a very great personality, and let's pray to him that he can bless us with Krishna Bhakti. Okay. So thank you all. Thank you so much for joining. Tomorrow, verse 5 will be started. Okay. Thank you all. Vancha kalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaiva cha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्री उपदेशामृत की जय। श्रील रूप गोस्वामी की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। श्री गुरु महाराज की जय। Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you all. Thank you so much.